All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to another tier list, another Counter-Strike tier list. We decided to go ahead and jump in on another common theme, and that is the knife finishes tier list. I think this is kind of what props up a lot of the knives, or takes down a lot of the knives. See, these things are what gives knives their value, depending on different patterns and stuff, and there's just a lot of different variations on all of these that can contribute to a knife's value and overall look and overall aura of a knife. Once again, I am joined by Matt and Dylan, returning from the knife tier list. How you guys doing?
Doing
Amazing.
good.
All right, not to dilly-dally. We've got a lot of finishes to go through, so we're just going to jump right into this. Starting things off, we have what is probably maybe the most iconic finish of the game, and that is Fade, which is not
Easy-
exclusive to
easy
knives.
S.
I mean, it's a no-brainer S tier. It's a beautiful, beautiful finish. 90% of the time, this thing adds, like, this is the best finish for a knife. This is the best finish for knives that don't have, like, some of these other finishes yet. And it just looks good. On most knives, this finish looks good.
Even if you only have like a 70 or 60% fade, on 90% of the knives, it still looks fire. Easy S.
S.
And for the simple fact that it looks good on a lot of the guns, too.
It
Like-
might be top of S for me, but we'll just,
Like, it-
we'll,
We'll get to that when we get to it, but I mean, there's just no. I mean,
starting
Fade,
out with a fucking heater.
starting out with a banger with the fucking goat of finishes. Like Fade, you pull a Fade on anything. You're like, oh, even like a shit knife. Like,
I mean, especially in M9 and all these photos.
Yeah.
God damn, does that look sick?
yeah, that it does. All right, moving on to the marble Fade. I really fuck with this knife or this finish. I think the marble Fades look sick. They had a weird little update a little while back where they kind of fucked them up for like a day, but then they made them right back, so it was okay. In my opinion, this is a really, really great finish. You can get a cool... This is another pattern one, right? So there's a lot of different finishes that are worth more. Like, obviously, if you get like a fire and ice finish, the blue and red, like that's more valuable than if you have more yellow or whatever, but there's different variations on it. So I this is another top tier finish for me. What do you guys think?
A or B.
I think A or B. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Marble Fade. I like
Agreed.
it. If I got Marble Fade instead of like, some other dog shit thing, like I don't know, a lot of these, then I would be happier, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. Personally, I'd probably put it in B, but looking at all these
Personally,
other skins,
I would put it in B as well.
I was
it could
thinking
go
A,
in
but like compared to all the other skins. But
yeah, I think it could go in A or B. I don't know. We could put it in either or. Maybe we move it later.
let's leave
Yeah.
it in A for now. We good with that?
I'm okay with it.
I'm
but
good with that. I like that it's shiny, but it's not special.
Yeah, with the asterisk that it can move down.
I disagree that it's not special. I think that it adds...
I mean, the fade is the same
It-
thing, but better.
It wants to be fade, bro. Like,
It's
it
just a
wants
new
to be
variation
fade.
on it.
The
It's a
only
new
cool-
variation, but I don't know, to me,
It's like
not
a
my
worse
favorite.
combination. It's like a combination of Doppler and fade, with like the way that the fade is on the knife.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the fade was cleaner, more like traditional fade, and then maybe I would like it more. I think because it's kind of dirty looking, not so much like a Doppler is dirty, but I don't know how else to really put it. Like, unless you have a smaller knife where you can get a cool pattern like fire and ice or something, like it's just not that cool to me.
Yeah, it
personally.
has the streaks in it like a Doppler, but it's not
Yeah.
a Doppler. So I don't
But
know.
the Doppler looks good. It looks better in my opinion.
Yeah.
Y'all want to go B? We can go B. We can bring
All
it
right,
down.
maybe we move it up. Maybe we move it up. I think that's a hot take. I think a lot of people are
We
going to want that.
we
in A.
come we come back to it.
Okay. Moving on to, this is the freehand. There's a weird purple knife with all the weird symbols on it that is usually paired with like anything that a gamma Doppler or the lore or whatever that's usually found in those cases. Not the biggest fan, gonna be honest. I don't really see a situation where this knife looks good on any knife in particular. I don't think it's the worst finish in the
Yeah.
world, but it's really subpar in my
I feel
opinion.
like people only like it because it's purple, and there's
Mhm.
not any other purple blades besides a black Doppler or black pearl. I'm sorry,
Yeah, but not like a pure purple. Yeah.
but it's just like it's like if somebody had a nice purple knife and they like left it in the hood overnight and it has a bunch of graffiti all over it. Like it just looks fucking terrible to me. I hate it, and I like a lot of graffiti sometimes. So I
I don't mind it.
For
personally
me, this
would
is
be,
a D. A D
this is
tier
a
finish.
D. I could see an argument for a C if you have a dope combo with some purple gloves and it's on a good knife. I don't think the M9 shows it well. There's other knives where you can get like a good gap in the graffiti and it's more purple. The M9 is too big. I don't think you can really do that. That's the only thing that maybe could bump it up to C, but overall, is it just a skin by itself? I think D is fine. I really don't like it.
What do you think, Dylan?
It's really dirty.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, my initial thought was C, but yeah, it's nothing crazy.
I just don't think it's really. It's just very subpar. It's not the worst finish in the world by any means, but it's just not.
Like,
It's
I'd
like
be
you pull
more
it and you're like,
excited-
oh, okay, yeah, whatever,
I
all
like
right.
I like the patterns where it's more graffiti than purple.
Really,
Really, I like it the
Interesting.
other way around.
Yeah, I'm with
Yeah.
Matt.
I like the graffiti
I mean,
patterns.
I'd
'Cause,
rather
I mean,
have
the purple's cool, but you know, I don't know. It doesn't do it for me.
I'd rather have a freehand than like a safari mesh or something. But it's still like I'm bummed if I open a freehand. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I think D tier is
So
perfect
I
for
think
it.
maybe that could move up to C. We'll see where we play stuff.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the slaughter finish. How do we feel about the slaughter? I think we both Dylan and Matt have pulled a slaughter on different knives. So
And you didn't you? Oh no,
No,
you're Crimson Rail, I'm sorry.
I have not pulled a slaughter, not yet. Maybe
I
one day.
love.
I think the
love
slaughter. I think slaughter could be. Some people are gonna say S. I don't think it.
I don't
quite
think it's S.
Gets there.
No,
I think it goes A.
I was
Slaughter-
initially gonna say S.
it's not top tier. It's
The
good.
thing
It
was,
looks clean.
the thing that sucks is it used to be S. Like
Yeah,
the patterns, the hearts, the stuff like that.
Mhm.
yeah.
Is overshadowed by the new like Doppler finishes.
Yeah.
But I think Slaughter is so cool.
As far as
I love
I love the
classic,
cool
CS2
patterns.
that is shiny.
yeah.
Because it used to be matte.
Same with Fade though. Fade is so shiny now too. To be
Mhm.
fair.
I know, but the fact that Slaughter is shiny, because I always thought it would be a matte finish kind of skin.
Yeah. It's
I
kinda
don't know. I love Slaughter, so I'm a little biased, but
No, me too, dude. I think plus the rare patterns, you can get like the diamonds on some or
the diamonds, the
things.
hearts,
Like a heart, yeah.
I love, dude. A tier easy for me. It is
I was gonna
cool.
say A. It's such a
Yeah.
cool of the classic knife finishes. It's one of the best.
Yeah,
it's,
I love
you
it
pull-
more than
you pull a slaughter
Almost-
something. You're like, okay, fuck yeah, yeah, okay, sick,
almost any other red knife. I would rather have a slaughter.
yeah. All right, moving on to, I believe that is the Tiger Tooth. So how do we feel?
Ew.
Tiger Tooth went up with CS2,
I
in my opinion.
Really like Tiger Tooth a lot. It depends on what knife it is, though.
Mm-hmm.
More so than
100%.
the
Yeah.
only other yellow knife. We have to address the lore, even though it's farther down the list. The lore changes the handle on a lot of knives that I think fits more, makes it green, you know?
Yeah.
And so the Tiger Tooth doesn't change that. And I still really think the Tiger Tooth is solid, though. It goes good with so many combos.
but the lore compared to the Tiger Tooth,
I think the
the
Tiger
lore
Tooth
is a matte finish, so Tiger Tooth is
It's
a
glossy.
glossy.
It's shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. But I don't know. I mean,
I
It's
think
more
even
orange
it's
than
B.
yellow, though, honestly.
I think it's more of a B.
I'm just
Yeah.
thinking B tier as well.
I think B as well.
It definitely
really
it's one
nice,
of those
though.
finishes where it depends on the knife that you pull it.
Personally, I would rather have a Tiger Tooth over the Marble Fade that's in B right now. Like, that's how much I like Tiger Tooth, if that shows anything. But I
agree.
don't think it's on par with the
I don't think it's as good as a slaughter.
Slaughter.
No.
Sorry, I had a brain fart.
Yeah, it's
so-
not.
All right, moving on to this is
Stain?
Blue
this is
Steel.
Blue Steel.
Blue Steel.
For me, I like Blue Steel. I think it's
I'm
kind
a
of
blue steel
underrated.
enjoyer.
And
I am a
honestly,
blue
I
steel
like
enjoyer.
Battle Scarred Blue Steel better
Is
than.
Battle Scarred has the ones with the less spots on it, right?
I think so. I think that's how it works.
This is one of those skins where you don't see it too often, so you don't
Yes,
know
yeah,
that much
no,
about it.
it's a little darker, but it shows like more blue. It looks better Battle Scarred in my opinion.
Didn't you have a blue steel? Somebody had a blue steel karambit or something.
That was
a
Tony.
Talon?
Tony pulled a Blue Steel Karambit.
I had a blue
And
steel Talon.
he also
Yeah, you
pulled
had a
the.
blue steel Talon. That's right. Dylan had a blue steel Talon for a bit until he got his
Back in the
gloves.
day, I had a blue steel, I think Karambit as well. Or
Yeah,
maybe
honestly, I don't hate blue steel. I think out of a lot of there's another blue knife besides the Doppler that I really like, and I think is kind of better than this one in a weird way, because this is so niche of a thing. I feel like it's got to be C at most, but
As
it
a
is
blue steel enjoyer, I can agree.
I
'Cause
think
it is
C is
niche.
perfect
like
for it.
It's not.
It
it's
is
not
niche.
even blue. It's not blue. It's navy.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
dark.
I think it gets slept on personally.
It is slept on.
It's underrated.
Yeah, you can do some really nice setups with the blue steel for sure.
But I agree that it's probably a C tier. It's just
Yeah,
kind of
it's-
middle of the road finish. You pull one and you're like, okay, yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah,
You're not
but
like
it's just not
you're not like, oh my
flashy.
god, and you're not like, oh, like it's like
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Like the ones above it are flashy. That
Yeah.
it's not flashy. It's
Yeah.
nice, but it's just not flashy.
I agree. I agree. All right, moving on to I believe that is Damascus Steel. So how do we feel about Damascus Steel? What do we
Yet again,
thinking?
I'm a Damascus steel enjoyer.
I like it. I think again, C. I don't think it's too amazing, but the only argument I'll say is it's kind of like a better version of a vanilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that,
It's not like crazy.
the only nice thing is in CS2, it's like super shiny. That's
The thing too is it's the only nice white skin for a knife.
Yeah, that's true.
I think there are some rare patterns for the urban mask that you can get all white, but
It's an urban mask.
I agree.
Still. Yeah.
yeah, I think that the Damascus Steel does look better than an urban mask. And
Damascus steel is cool. I was gonna say B or C, but I could go C.
yeah, I mean, I just can't put it with a Tiger Tooth and a Marble Fade. That's just not fair to those two.
Yeah.
So it's
I
got to
agree.
go C.
I
But
I think that categorizes it perfectly. It's
But
a
it is
solid
nice.
knife. It's a solid knife.
Yeah, it's clean.
I
I'm
kind of compare it a lot to this next one. Like honestly,
I don't like
especially
this one.
especially with CS2 because the stained knife is very very shiny.
I feel like you just read my mind. I was gonna say the same thing. They're
It's kind of like on
in
par with it.
CS:GO
I think
they were totally different, but in CS2
very
the
similar.
sun is shining on
Yeah.
them and they're like flashing in your eye. You might, if you're like newbie to CS, you might not be able to tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't like stained.
stained is worse, and I think it should go in D. It's
Yeah.
just
It's
like a dirty Damascus.
Yeah. No, I agree.
it's in the name. Stained. It's just not. It's not great.
Yeah.
Like it's shiny. It's cool.
I've pulled
But
a stain and it's like, oh yeah, it's like okay, yeah, sure, but
It's not great.
Yeah.
it's probably appropriate at D tier. I agree. All right, moving on. This is going to be really hard.
This is the most iconic CS skin probably besides Fade.
Besides Fade, Case Hardened
Now,
is
how
weird though
we
because
judge this on it's such a varying, you could either get a skin that's worth like less than a vanilla knife because it's a piece of shit, or something that's literally worth $1 million. So how, you know what I mean? Like, I know we're not factoring money into this, but it's so varying. It's so crazy. I feel like it's gotta go S. Like, it's just so...
honestly, realistically, in terms of it being iconic and in terms of the emotions that you go through when you pull one, when you see one, even if the front side doesn't have any blue on it, you're like, oh my god, we gotta flip it over, like, oh. Or if you do and it has not even just like a bunch of blue, but just sparses, you're like, oh, that looks good.
Yeah,
it's
even if
just it's
not
iconic.
even a good tier blue gem. It's still, I like it. I like Case Hardened a lot on anything. If it's got a good, decent amount of blue.
Blue gem aside, you can get some really cool patterns. with this thing.
For me,
Dick Pattern Huntsman.
Dick Pattern Huntsman.
Yeah.
For me, though, it just sucks because this list includes the ruby, emerald, sapphire, but no blue gem. So when I rate case harden, I think of middle of the road. 50,
Yeah.
60% blue, right? I still really like that.
Yeah.
A 50% blue case harden looks fucking sick.
Yeah. I mean, there's been times where we've been in a game and we see somebody that's just got like a medium blue, and M9 actually I think is the most recent one I've seen, and it still looks so good. Like or AKs as well. I love case hardened, man.
It's iconic.
I feel like no matter what, it's got to be S.
Even blue gem aside, it's just iconic, and it's if you are one of the lucky ones to pull a blue gem or one with a bunch of blue on it,
or tier 1, tier 2,
or tier 1, tier 2, like some Navajo joyers we know, it's sick. So, do we have any? I mean, it has to be S, right?
Yes.
All right.
Personally, I think it should stay there. Yeah.
Jumping from another banger to maybe the worst finish of the game? Question mark?
Probably, arguably one of
Rust Coat.
One of the worst.
I feel like it's got to go F, right? It's got to be our first F.
It's got to be F. Yeah.
It can't go anywhere else.
It can't go free. I'd rather have a freehand or a stain than a Rust Coat.
Oh, absolutely.
Any condition.
It's funny. It's funny when you pull one. It's so funny.
Especially when you pull Rust Coat Shattered Daggers.
Thank you, I know.
Yeah. Let's move on to the lore. The lore is pretty iconic, in my opinion.
Lore is sick.
The lore, it's interesting because the lore is newer than the Tiger Tooth, right? It's a newer skin.
It's the same, I'm pretty sure.
No, it's not in the same case.
It's not the same collection?
No, it's not. So I think Matt's right. I think lore came after Tiger Tooth.
It came with like the autotronic and shit. I love the lore. I have a lore, so I'm a little biased, but
most of the time, though, you don't really get a clean finish on the lore. It's so fucking hard to get a clean one. Most of the time, they're field tested or below. Like, it's very, very, very rare that you see one above field tested.
That being said, though, this is the first knife we've ranked that changes the color of the handle. It's sick. I like that it changes it to green on almost every knife. I can't think of one that it doesn't. Maybe one of like the knives with like paracord or something where it's got like the cord handle. But
paracord doesn't have that finish yet.
Yeah, I know what I mean, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I personally, I'm not a lore fan.
I've never been the biggest lore fan, but I think it's kind of sits there with the.
I think it should go B.
B. Yeah.
I'm thinking B as well.
The Tiger Tooth is better, just because the blade is cooler. But overall, I do like the lore a lot because of the color change on the handle. I know I keep saying that, but
I think B is perfect for the lore. I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, now moving
Lamb.
on to what
Black Lamb.
Black
laminate.
Yeah.
So how do we feel about black laminate?
It's cool, but it's not special.
I like it a lot. I think C or D though. It's probably, if I was gonna say, my favorite black knife, except for if you get a insanely like 000 ultraviolet, because those things, if you have like anything other than that, they're scratched up. If you want a black knife, it's the best one to go with, especially cheap. But it's not on par with the other ones.
Yeah,
I could say C or D, either one. It's not, it's not super special like you said.
For me, it's a D, but if y'all want to go C, I'm cool with that.
Let's go. What do you think, Billy?
I think C.
All right, C for now.
We'll put it in C then. Yeah. All right, autotronic. I kind of fuck with the autotronic. I like it.
That's cool.
It's a cool. There's nothing like too special about it, but it's just kind of cool.
Well, it has that weird little grill on it that it puts on a lot of knives. You can see it right there on the little M9 photo. And in the fact that it's kind of like half the color and half the silver, it does that on a lot of knives. Interesting, but something about it just doesn't really do it for me. I don't know what it is. It just seems like if a Discord mod wanted to pick a skin to have a knife of, he would pick that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is about it.
For me, if you think of a red knife finish, I think of Crimson Web. I think of a Ruby. I think of Slaughter.
Yeah,
I think of autotronic last.
yeah. I
No,
don't
I
even
mean,
remember
I agree with
autotronic
that.
exists.
I definitely don't. You don't really pick it like
And you never see them either.
for like a red loadout or anything. But like if
I
I
feel
pull
like,
one, it's like whatever. I think a C is pretty appropriate.
yeah, I think top of C or whatever. It doesn't really matter for now. We'll do that later. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, the
it's kind of like
first
trade
one
bait.
up is the Forest DD Pat. I'm gonna be honest, both of
Uh,
these two we can kind of rank them together, like
Forest DD Pad and Boreal
and
Forest.
Boreal Forest. Yeah, I mean, they're
after
really gonna
D,
They've got to be F, right? I mean, maybe the DD Pat is a little higher than the Boreal Forest
because the handle.
the handle is green
Yeah,
and it
maybe.
matches. But like, if you're gonna pick a camo knife, the next one after that is so much
real.
better.
It sucks, because I like a camo, but neither of these do it for me.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, there's some camos that are okay, that traditional camo style, but both of these just don't look good. I think the DD Pad though,
DD Pat's better.
yeah, kinda.
So
I don't know. If
DD
you pull
DD
either
Pat.
of these, you are bummed. Though.
Yeah, DD Pat D Boreal Forest stuff.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right. I mean, they're so similar to that point, but I think the handle changes it up, and the DD Pat is more like it's not like a typical camo.
It's blocky. Like,
It's
yeah,
blocky.
Yeah, I know what you
Yeah.
mean.
So now we have the
Bright
bright
water.
water.
I'm gonna be honest. I fucking love the bright water. The blue handle and everything. You can make some crazy combos with this with some blue gloves.
These go with these. The bright water goes good with a lot of gloves. Like you
Dude.
can make some cool combos, like with different gloves with the bright water, with a cool knife too.
Matty Ice, our resident non-knife opener, finally opened a knife and traded his for
For a bright
Bright water?
Yeah.
Bright
and
water is sick.
I fucking love the bright water. I'm gonna be real. I think this could go into B personally for me, but
I'm cool.
I
I'm
could
cool with
see
B.
it going with. I could see it going into C.
No,
as well, but
I
this skin.
totally think this could be a B tier finish.
Out of all the camo skins or anything that's not super flashy, that's kind of like these are cheaper. It's my favorite by far of the cheaper skins.
Bright water goes hard.
Yeah, it's super slept on. If you have a bright water, you're based as fuck. It's just I love this thing.
Yeah, I think it goes hard. I think it's a great B tier skin. All right, so now we have the Crimson Web. I like this finish. I think it's a weird history. It's got a couple of really cool patterns, and
They're
it's
float locked.
and it's very, very hard to get a low float Crimson Web.
Are they the only knife skin that are float locked? Like where it's hard to get a factory new one?
I think lore is like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crimson Web was Blue Gem before Blue Gem.
Before people realized what blue gems were, crimson webs were the most expensive. I remember
Yeah.
in like 2014, 2015, where people would sell like a center web factory new M9 like this for like 10,000, and that was like crazy. You know what I mean? So I don't know though. Does it deserve to be an S?
No, I don't think it deserves
Eh.
S. I was thinking A.
I like it though because it also changes the handle. It makes the handle
Yeah.
black, which I like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I
And I
pulled
wish
my
more
I pulled my
skins did that.
Talon, and it made the ivory handle black, and it's just clean. It just looks
Yeah.
clean. Even a messed up one, right? Like so, even a well worn or even like a battle scarred one, it can look sick.
I
Like
don't know if I agree with that. I think the Crimson Web kind of has to be super low float for me to really like it. Personally,
See, I disagree. I think with some wear and tear on it, it looks cool. Like there's some knives that look cool rough, and this is one of them. I mean, don't get me wrong, low float ones go hard too, but if you pull a high float Crimson Web, it's not the end of the world. Like it's
I
still
think
pretty
it's-
sick.
Yeah, I think it's very similar to the Slaughter. The cool patterns,
Yeah,
the cool history.
I'm cool
but
with
it
A
just-
tier if y'all are.
A tier.
Yeah, I'm down with A.
Yeah, I mean it's just clean. All right, Knight is like a nothing finish for me. I don't know if I've ever seen this finish on the fly in game. I don't think I've seen a single person run this finish.
I've seen maybe one or two when they're like beat up because they just unboxed it and they just ran it. You know what I mean?
I like Night more than Black Lamb.
Really?
Yeah.
I like how it has the blue hue.
Yeah, but I think Blue
It's
Steel
more
is better.
special.
Blue Steel is
Blue
better.
Steel is better, but
and-
it's not trying to be blue. It's
Okay,
not trying to be
what
black.
about Brightwater then?
It's Night. I don't know. It's unique to me. I like it.
I mean, I
I mean,
can't
it
see it
is like
going.
the only
yeah.
knife that's kind of just like all one color, blade and handle.
Yeah, like I said, it's not black laminate. It's not trying to be matte black.
It's got
It
to be
has a
maybe
hue.
C for me, but I think D. I don't know. I'll go C if he
I'm
wants to
fine with
argue
putting
it.
it in C or D. I just think it's a cool skin.
I think C. I think it's better than the freehand and the stand. If you have a super low float, maybe put an asterisk next to that one. Super low float only.
I will say, yeah, if it's scratched up at all, it looks like horrible.
Yeah, it's.
I
Gotta be
kind of
really
almost
clean.
want to put it in D for that because I don't know if I've ever seen like a low
Yeah.
float.
Okay.
My
vote
put it
is
in
D. Because I
Put
don't
it in
think it's as
D.
good as these 4.
Do
I
it.
kind of agree.
I just personally like it more than Black Lamb.
That's understandable for that reason, but I just don't think it's better. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, Black Lamb's a D too, but we'll
Yeah.
get to that later if we have to. All right, ultraviolet. I am an ultraviolet enjoyer. I like the ultraviolet. Personally,
Ultraviolet's cool.
it's
I think
a cool,
really
it's a chill finish.
But if you don't get it like fucking quad zero factory new,
That's
it
not true.
doesn't-
That's not entirely true. For a lot of knives, it is, but it depends on the knife. I traded for an ultraviolet Ursus because I was running that earlier this year before I traded that for like Minwear gloves because I was using that for my T side for my purple
Yeah.
inventory, and it was minimal wear and it looked all like barely any notches on it.
It's
No,
different. Knives are different. The
Yeah.
M9,
I
I'm looking at
unboxed
the
the
M9.
stiletto. I unboxed the stiletto minimal
That's right.
wear ultraviolet, and it had a scratch right in the middle.
Yeah, that it
that
did.
went vertical.
I mean, I like it, but it, especially at least what I'm looking at on the M9, it was what makes me think of it is if you don't have a super clean one, it's super scratched up. Maybe other knives like the stiletto or Ursus that are smaller, it doesn't show as much, but I think maybe C.
I see. I was gonna say
I could
B.
argue B. I could see an argument for B, but
Dude, I
the
was
fact,
between C and D.
Really?
yeah, I think C realistically. Like it's
It's just-
cool, but
Yeah,
the only thing going for it is that it has the purple handle, but the fact that you have to get it so clean on most of the knives really brings it down for me. If it wasn't so specific on being so clean, I would put it up to B.
All right, I'll settle for C. All right, scorched. This is an F tier for me.
Yeah, I mean the only thing it's got going for it is it has a weird pattern where like the whole
rare
thing is
pattern
black,
now.
Yeah, I just don't think
but I don't think that's on every knife.
you pull this
So-
thing and you're like, God damn it! Like,
Yeah, pretty much these next 3 you pull them and you're pissed off. So
Yeah, scorched mid.
yeah.
yeah, I think scorched is D. Honestly,
All right,
you
so
can put-
Safari Mesh. I mean, you're the one that's pulled one, so
Horrible.
or F. I'm sorry.
I also think that it's pretty
Same thing though. It has a
bad.
rare pattern where it's like all one solid color, but who cares? It's a Safari Mesh.
Yeah, I think the Urban Mask is a little better though.
Urban Mask is better. I would put it in D.
Yeah.
I don't
like-
know.
Me, I'm a sucker for a white camo, so I like Urban Mask.
Yeah, you have a whole white and black inventory though. That's kind of
But
biased.
just in general though, like I like a white camo.
Yeah.
So, I like Urban Mask.
It's not an
but
F. It's not an F tier finish. It's not great
would
by any
say-
means, but it's definitely I think it's a perfect D tier.
I guess if DD Pat made it into D, then sure, because that's surprising to me. I don't know how
If-
that made it in there.
You know, on like the auto sniper on T side, the Polar, the digital white camo.
Yeah.
If that was this one, I would argue for higher, but yeah, this one's not great.
Okay. Now things get interesting because we have arrived at the Doppler
All
skins,
Dopplers.
all the phases. So we'll
Yeah,
start
that's-
with phase 1, which is hard to tell. These are old pictures from I think CS:GO,
Yeah.
but they look a
different.
lot different now in CS2. Better in my opinion. For me, phase 1, it's clean.
Nah,
I mean, it's
okay.
I think A or B.
B.
I'm
I
thinking
think
B.
B.
I think it's in the same like vein as like a Marble Fade.
I think B because I think
Right.
Phase 2 is the better version.
Okay,
Yeah.
here. Let's go ahead and put this in B. If we all agree, phase 1 goes in
Yeah.
B. Phase 2 is insane. Phase 2 is the best phase. Phase of the 4 phases, my favorite is phase 2. Phase 2
is a gem
looks
without being a gem.
exactly,
It is.
especially on specific knives like butterfly phase 2s. Those things go for crazy amounts of money, like almost to the gem worth. They look
Yeah.
so pink. It's like a pink gem, basically.
Dylan's
Phase
Bayo
2.
Phase 2
Yeah,
looks
my
fire.
bayonet is all pink.
It looks so good.
A tier.
This
Easy.
is
be
without
A.
a doubt an A tier for me. Like, high A. This thing looks crazy.
Yeah.
Phase 3. So you got some blue going on with a hint of green here and there. So, how do we feel about Phase 3?
Probably my least favorite.
I don't like the hint of green.
I'm
Yeah,
also
I'm
not
l-
a fan of the hint of green, but it's
I don't
definitely
like-
not a C tier knife.
Unless you get a gamma Doppler, I'm not a fan of it. Personally, I would probably put it C, just rating the Dopplers. But compared to everything else, bottom of B.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I don't like the green.
All right, Phase 4. How do we feel?
This is like the new budget Sapphire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you have the right
Phase 4's went up with CS2.
You legit can't tell sometimes if it's a Phase 4 or a Sapphire.
I
And
have
that's-
this exact knife. M9 Phase 4. It's amazing.
Yeah. And
I mean, you're thinking
it looks
right,
really good.
an A tier?
It's-
I mean,
Yeah, I think it's got to be A. And the fact
Instead of
that-
having a hint of green, it's just blue and black.
yeah,
I mean,
and the black
yeah.
looks better with it
yeah, the
in terms of
green
how the
ruins it.
Doppler, like, the way that the skin works. It just looks better.
Yeah.
I say we throw all of the gems up top, like ruby, sapphire, emerald, and then we discuss that later.
And Black Pearl.
I agree. I mean, if we're being
Yeah.
honest, all of these are going S tier,
Go ahead
right?
and throw the Emerald up there too.
We'll put Black Pearl, and we'll skip ahead. We'll throw the Emerald up there. I mean, these are the
We'll-
gems, right?
We'll
So
organize them laser.
they're the holy grails of skins, aside from like a blue gem, right? These 4 finishes are the holy grails. If you pull
I
one of
agree.
these, you are one lucky son of a bitch.
Shout out our friend Antonio.
Exactly.
I fucking hate that guy.
I do too. All right, so moving on to the Gamma Doppler. So this is phase 1 of the Gamma Doppler. It's like a flipped version of the phase 3, right? Like there's more green with blue hints rather
Except
than blue
for
with
the
green
phase
hints.
2 Gamma that kind of looks like a budget Emerald. I don't like any of these.
I disagree.
I think they're cool in their own way, but I think the other Dopplers look way better. And I think that
These got to come
up
up with CS2 though.
They
You got to
did,
think
but
about
I think
that.
Personally, the phase 2 is the only one that belongs in A. I think
I'd argue phase 3. Phase 3 goes so hard.
I'm just not a fan of the baby blue. I don't like it. It just doesn't really fit the skin. I think of Emerald.
I
I think
like
it needs
it.
to be green, and maybe if they want to, add
The
a
thing
baby
with the
blue thing.
phases is they need to be unique though, so I like the blue.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, but
So-
I agree, but
I mean,
don't know.
none
I
of them
I
are
still
below
don't like
B
it.
tier, right? In
No.
terms of like comparing it to the other knives. So
Say
we'll
that
put
one
put
is.
phase 1 in B. You
A.
want to put phase 2 in A.
Yeah.
I think phase 3 deserves to be an A. Honestly, I think phase 3 goes hard.
Yeah, I
On
guess
some
put up a
knives,
photo
sort
of
of like the
CS2
phase 2 with some knives. This shit looks really good.
so
The
people can
phase
see.
3 is that the cyan gems?
Yes, I think
Cyan.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, dude, that's
Those go hard.
that's
Very
not
few
being
of
all
them
S
look
tier.
really good.
That and the phase 2 regular Dopplers are kind of low-key knocking on this tier. And then I mean
phase 4. Hey,
we'll put it in B.
Yeah,
We go with that? So
Yeah.
okay. We'll get to the Doppler rankings when we get to them, but I think in terms of overall finishes, I think in terms of being in a tier, everything looks right for me.
I think the
So-
only argument is people are going to think the marble fade should go higher. I think people are going to be wanting some of the ones in C to be lower. And
people are
then-
going to be pissed at bright waters and B.
Yeah, that
Maybe,
as
but
well.
like
I
Bright
agree.
Water and B is like based. So anyway,
It is.
so let's go to F. I mean, all these are pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't
all
know.
equal.
Low
Equally as
key,
bad.
I don't think the Rust Code is the worst of these.
I think the Scorched.
I think Scorched might be the worst finish in the game.
Safari mesh.
I think Safari Mesh is worse because you can get a Scorched pattern where it's all black.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's only on a couple knives. It's not on the M9 because it's too big. But
Then
I think they're all
Boreal
equally
ahead
as
of
bad.
No, Boreal lower.
Lower than Rust?
I hate the Boreal Forest, bro. If I open a Boreal Forest, I want to kill myself.
Everything in F tier just sucks.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like, they all suck ass.
Yeah, you're kind of right. All right, D tier. I think DD Pat goes all the way in the back.
Yeah. I don't even know why that's up there. That needs to be down in F, personally, but whatever.
Personally, I would put Knight and Urban Mass towards the top, but that's up for you two to discuss.
Yeah, I think
I
the
kind of agree.
Knight needs to be up towards the top. I think Freehand, though, also can be towards the top just because it's purple and it's kind of cool. Compared to those, just kind of look like shit.
So like move Stain back a little bit.
Yeah, and
then maybe
flip Knight, I think Knight and Freehand.
Yeah.
No, put Knight at the front.
Knight at the front, better than Urban Masked?
100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only because if you get a clean one, it looks really cool. Urban
Right.
Masked, it doesn't matter. You can get a battle scarred one, it looks the fucking same. I'm still bummed if I get it. I think honestly, Freehand might be over Urban Masked, just in my opinion, but could be either way.
All right. What about C? Honestly, this is back here for me.
Yeah.
Autotronic at the front.
Yeah.
What's at the front?
Autotronic 1. I think maybe ultraviolet 2. Blue steel 3. Damascus 4.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do blue steel and Damascus.
Nah, I kind of like blue steel a little more than Damascus, honestly.
That's up to,
it's like
it's preference. It's preference. I mean,
yeah. I agree. That's a good setup for C, though.
Yeah. All right, this is where shit gets interesting. Now, as based as Brightwater is, it's got to go back here.
It's gotta.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, you're just arguing colors. Do you like blue more? Do you like green more? Do you like yellow more? You know?
It's true.
Roy G. Biv, where's your alliance? So, I don't know. I wouldn't
anything except for the Brightwater, you can kind of argue can go anywhere.
I agree. I'm cool with just kind of leaving it where it is. They're kind of all interchangeable. Some are more valuable than others, but I mean,
that's not part of this. Kind of it is.
I mean, it kind of is, but at the same time, we're going off of aura, and I think that these kind of have the same level. Yeah.
Now
that being said,
those two at the front should probably move to the back. At least behind.
This goes up front for me.
I think the blue one should too.
I think Crimson Web goes to the back.
I think
I low-key like the Cyan better than the... I like the Phase 3 better than Phase 2 personally for Gamma Doppler, but I'm cool with whatever you
like. I think Slaughter can go behind the blue one at least. Just because the Phase 4 looks like a fucking Sapphire now. Like...
Just a darker, yeah.
Yeah, Phase 2 and Phase 4 looks so crazy. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a Slaughter. I had one, but Dopplers are just on another level, man.
So put it back here.
No, I think it was fine where it just was.
Above the Gamma
unless
Dopplers?
unless you like the game. Like I said, I think the red
and blue Cyan
Dopplers
gem
are better.
Would go before a Slaughter any day.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I guess. All right, I'll go with that. This is similar to the last one though. It's kind of like, what color do you like more? You know?
Yeah, but except there is differences with this one.
Hey, I mean, I'm biased. I own a Phase 2. I own a Phase 4. So those two being in the front works for me.
I think this is fine. Now this is a conversation.
All right.
I'm gonna say something here that maybe you two aren't gonna agree with, but of the 6 finishes we have here, Sapphire goes in last. For me.
I think Fade should go second last. I agree with Sapphire going last because Phase 4 looks so similar now. It's kind of crazy.
Sapphire needs some kind of overhaul. It needs to stand out.
It needs to be brighter.
In CSGO, like this, so these are CSGO images. Like, you pull one of these, you know what you got. In
Yeah, Sapphire was,
CS2,
like,
you gotta like go,
glowing.
okay, I gotta go look at my inventory so it can tell me what I have.
Yeah.
Like
no,
unless
for
you
real.
unless you're like a crazy fucking eyeball nitpicky fucker.
Oh,
But
well,
for me,
unless it's a phase 4 with a lot of blue. Most
Yeah.
of them don't have that much blue. So you,
Sapphire for me is insane, but of the 4 gems, and honestly with these 2 thrown in, it is the bottom of S tier for me. That's how
it
I
sucks
feel.
because in CSGO, Sapphire is
Agreed.
probably my
Sapphire
favorite
was
gem.
Sapphire was low key number 1 in CS:GO, but in CS2 not so much anymore.
They really fucked it up.
Now, you said you wanted Fade to be in front of Sapphire.
I think
See, for me personally, Fade is the best. I don't care about how much money it is. Fade is the
I just
pinnacle
Fade
of
is
skins.
iconic. I just don't think it's better than the
it's
gems
similar.
in my opinion.
It's similar to the
thing-
knife video, where we said Karambit was more iconic, but the M9 had a cooler blade. I think Fade is more iconic, but I think that Ruby and Black Pearl and Emerald and even Case Harden has a cooler blade. Personally, I just think that's how it is. I don't know though.
I'm
Case
kind of with
Harden and
Matt.
Case Harden and Fade. It depends so wildly with Case Harden that it's hard to say with that. But Ruby, Black Pearl, and Emerald have to go in front of Fade. Personally,
Yeah.
Blade wise, they look way cooler. But
I think-
Fade is.
I
way
think maybe
more
Fade
iconic.
goes in front of Case Harden. If you don't account for like blue gems and stuff, it's the
Case
better
Harden
pull
most of the time does look
because it's the
worse.
most consistent pull. You pull a Fade,
Yeah.
you're like, fuck yeah. You pull a Case Harden, you're like, god damn it, there's like no blue on it.
Yeah,
Or holy fucking shit, I just made 10 grand. Like, you
yeah,
know,
it's true.
it's sporadic. So for that reason, I think Fade should go above Case Harden, but they both go above Sapphire. But these 3 are better than both of them. Now,
Yeah.
honestly,
Black Pearl
for me, I personally like the Black Pearl the most, but it kind of is a similar point to how we feel about these, and the fact that we're now just kind of comparing colors. Like, if
But-
you want an insane
Red's-
emerald,
Yeah, red is my favorite color, so I put Ruby at the front.
But
Yeah.
if you're looking at the biggest, like in CS2, Black Pearl had the biggest come up. Dude, Black Pearl used to look. You couldn't even tell it was Black Pearl before. People would have to tell you. Like now, how Sapphire and Phase 4 look so similar.
with Phase 1 and Black Pearl, yeah.
looks insane now.
No, Black
And
Pearl got
for that
yeah.
reason. I feel like Black Pearl's, and it's the rarest one. I feel like it's got to be number 1 out of all the gems. It's the rarest one.
For me,
Obviously,
this is kind of the order. At least for my preference.
Yeah, I
So-
don't know. This whole S tier is so subjective because
yeah.
you could go off monetary value. Case Harden would be number 1.
Yeah, I mean,
You could go off
monetary
colors.
value.
Everyone has a favorite color, so there's no agreeing.
I
Going
guess
with
it
the
does
rest.
depend on how you look at it. Like if you look at it for monetary, or if you look at it for like what you want personally, or whatever, right? Or even inventory, like building, or whatever you want, right? So
Yeah.
That's why Fade is so special to me because, just like you said, if you pull a Ruby M9 worth 16, 17 grand, you sell that shit. You do
Yeah.
not keep that.
I'm
You
selling
sell it,
that
and you get a
buying an
Fade.
M9 fade or
Mhm.
a Karambit fade.
Like, it all comes back to Fade. That's why,
and
to
getting
me,
a
Fade is
full
the best.
inventory with the rest of the money. Dude, Black Pearl, I don't even know, dude. If I unboxed a Black Pearl, I'd probably kill myself because that'd be the peak in my life. Like I don't
No.
even know what to say other than that.
Either way, all of S tier is subjective. I think we've come to that conclusion.
I agree. They're all
Yeah,
they're
I
all
mean-
bangers.
Tier wise, I think it's pretty good. I think the only hate probably is maybe on the Brightwater being too high, but fuck you, that's based.
I like
Yeah,
the
Brightwater
Brightwater.
is
I fuck with
sick.
it.
Yeah, I would rather have a
It
Brightwater
definitely
than
belongs all the
anything
way back
below a
here,
Brightwater.
but I fuck with it. These are so
Anything-
interchangeable anyway. Like it's
Anything below the Brightwater, I'd rather have the Brightwater, but anything above, I'd rather have that.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
the perfect middle ground, honestly.
It really is.
Anyway, let's wrap this up. Thank you guys for watching. I think this is another successful Counter-Strike tier list, in my opinion. Feel like everything's probably where it needs to be. I mean, you know, really the only ones that could be interchangeable are like the ones in S or, you know, whatever order you want. basically. It's at that
Yeah,
point.
it's so personal preference.
It's personal preference, and there's different reasoning for it all. So
the knife tier list one I think was more specific, and this one is like so opinion based on color.
especially
For a
in the
lot of
higher
these.
tiers, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you once again, Matt and Dylan, for joining me again on another successful tier list. Thank you guys again. I'll catch y'all in the next video.